The long take, a bold feat of craftsmanship that consists of a single unbroken shot, which can be dynamic in its movement or completely static, has been utilised as a storytelling tool in moving image display throughout cinema history. From Touch of Evil, Goodfellas and Birdman, the long take will always be an interesting and entertaining spectacle to the beholder. However, in this video essay, we shall be exploring the long take in a particular presentation of narrative time. Slow cinema has become a big component in art house films, especially internationally, with directors such as Chantal Akerman, Lav Diaz, Nuri Bilge-Ceylan, and most notably Andrei Tarkovsky, who states in his book Sculpting in Time that time becomes the very foundation of cinema. Through the use of the long take, these directors have shown a unique display of their use of time in which their audiences can exhibit. Slow cinema's rejection of the mainstream forms and styles with quick cuts and fast-paced films, or montage cinema according to Tarkovsky, look to invite viewers of this art form to be actively more present in the cinematic experience. It compels us to retreat from a culture of speed, modify our expectations of filmic narration, and physically attune to a more deliberate rhythm, as explained by Matthew Flanagan in his 2012 thesis on slow cinema. The first filmmaker I shall be looking at in this video is Hungarian director Béla Tarr, whose work includes Werkmeister Harmonies, Satan Tango, and his swan song, The Turin Horse. Tarr is known for his melancholic visions of Eastern Europe, slow narrative pace, and extremely long takes. But how does Tarr's short film contribution to the anthology Visions of Europe, Prologue, utilise this method of filmmaking, and what makes it so effective as a storytelling device? The film is comprised of a single dolly tracking shot, with a total length of 4.5 minutes, capturing what appears to be a never-ending line of ragged-looking homeless people. As the people in the film flood past the lens, it becomes clear that all of these individuals have a look that expresses words without words. It is only at the end of the film that the audience is given any sense of clarity, revealing the young woman at the window giving them soup. With this, Tarr is able to paint a picture with a single shot and no words. The mundanity and sheer vastness of the people having to wait in order to eat says more than what any dialogue can do, along with the character of their facial expressions, which follows Raskin's theory on image and sound, in that it is preferable to communicate information visually in a film rather than verbally. In his book The Cinema of Béla Tarr, Kovacs states that Tarr uses long takes to create the sensation of immersion, or on the contrary, to alienate the viewer through mechanistic movements or static compositions, with my belief being that it is the immersion of the audience that takes a hold with this short film. The impact that this long take creates by guiding the viewer along with the line, as if the audience is an ambient element of the environment in which the world is captured in this short film, engages with the audience with the content in a thought-provoking way, creating a sense of empathy and reality, which relates to Rees's theory that we react as if we are present in the film's universe. This also coincides with Pasolini's belief that it is impossible to perceive reality as it happens if not from a single point of view. How does this contrast to that of the long takes of Taiwanese director Tsai Ming-Liang in his short film No Sleep? Tsai Ming-Liang promotes a very different viewing experience with his Walker series, in particular No Sleep, which arguably takes stillness and long takes to an extreme by displaying the relationship between Buddhism and modernity. The film is centered around a Buddhist monk practicing the art of kinhin, or walking meditation, around the busy and also in some areas calm city of Tokyo. The long take in this case utilises the action on screen instead, by having the character walk at an extremely gradual pace, with each step taking up around 30 seconds, as if almost in slow motion. Kopnick explains in his book The Long Take that Tsai's very slowness allows us to reflect on the velocity of the movement and press against the modern dominance of chronological time over the inner time experience. It is only through the use of the static long takes which this objective is completed. Had it been a moving camera or involved more frequent cuts, the visual language in this film would not have had the same effect. Given that Tsai Ming-Liang's Walker short films are comprised of a series of static and meditative long takes, and are simple in that they purely involve a monk walking with complete concentration, then perhaps we can apply Raskin's theory on simplicity, since simplicity can also be understood in terms of the time, a kind of temporal space, allowed to the viewer to absorb what is going on in the story. Which brings us back to the use of long takes, and their relevance in capturing time in slow cinema film. Likewise, if No No Sleep has the underlying message to the viewer of slowing down in a fast-paced world, then perhaps the film displays a certain degree of depth, which would also correlate to Raskin's theory that depth can be understood in terms of hidden meaning or openness to interpretation. Kopnick also explains that Tsai's and Tarr's aesthetic of the long take defines camera, image, screen and auditorium as thresholds of lingering and ambivalence. In other words, the use of these extreme forms of long takes push the boundaries of time in order to create a unique cinematic experience for their audiences. Paul Schrader has stated that the novelty of slow films has worn off, and people are not as mesmerised as they were when the slowness was really being used as a new concept of film time. However, I believe this to be false, with directors such as Béla Tarr and Tsai Ming-Liang leaving the foundations in their work for new and future filmmakers to evolve this art form. And in today's day and age, the need for slow films, even in a short film format, is ever more relevant, and luckily, with the directors that are able to harness this appropriately, the long takes holds a unique position in cinema today to make more time for time.